Welcome back to the Kosi Arsenal channel. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. The Leroy Sane transfer to Arsenal is getting closer and closer as Arsenal wait to get him on a free this summer. Now, Bayern are also trying to get him on a new deal with a pay cut, but why would he take a pay cut when Arsenal want to get him on a free and give him the wages that he actually wants? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. This still makes a little bit of sense when you think about what amount of money Arsenal are going to be splashing around this summer. You can't buy everyone. You might have to get some free deals if you can, especially Leroy Sane and Jonathan David. Very good players, can provide you with cover, can also give you a little bit of experience and a little bit of pedigree without costing anything. So what are your thoughts on Leroy Sane? I'm one of the people who think that Sane's best days are behind him. I remember him at Schalke 04. I remember him at Manchester City. He was devastating. He had pace. He had the striking ability of the ball. But these days, he's a little bit getting older and lagging. But I'm not saying he ain't a good player. He's worked with Mikel, and he might be what Arsenal need in terms of providing general cover. I mean, that kind of Raheem Sterling role. A player you can summon at any point in the game to play for you in the 10, in number 11, or in the 7, as long as he is fit. I think Leroy Sane can be that guy for us. We might not have to spend a lot of money on that role, but if you can get Sane for free, he can actually do a very good role. Now, some sources say that Arsenal have already held talks with the camp of the player, and they're still waiting for what's going to come out of the negotiations between Bayern and Leroy Sane. So what is going on at the moment is that his performances, according to German sources, have impressed Max Eber, one of the directors at Bayern, and he wants to give him a new deal. But these are the terms and conditions of the deal. First and foremost, Leroy Sane has to agree that he's going to take a pay cut. Basically, that means that if you've been earning 100,000, you're going to be earning around 80 or 70,000. Now, that is a little bit unfair for me for a player like Leroy Sane. If he was around 35 or 33 or 34, yeah, it would make sense. Bayern would want to keep him as part of their long line of heritage, their long line of history. But I just don't understand why Leroy Sane would choose to stay at Bayern with a pay cut. Now, again, most sources in German can confirm that the player is not really against a pay cut. It's just going to depend how much is going to be the pay cut, but it's not against it. And also at the moment, Bayern have not given him a formal contract. It's still negotiations and just talks, and that's why Arsenal can use this opportunity to pounce in and talk to the player. Now, for me, this is a deal that I think is quite straightforward and easy. We have been told that Bayern Munich wanted to sign Desire Doué last summer, and this summer they're looking at Nico Williams and a couple of other wingers as well. I think Leroy Sane needs to understand that although he's one of the, real big German fans and real big Bayern fans, his time at Bayern is coming to an end. There are little use cases for him at Bayern as compared to a club like Arsenal. Now, again, when you're at Bayern, you have so many players starting ahead of you, you might not have the opportunity. The likes of Florian Wirtz are being talked about as new arrivals, and the likes of Musiala, Goretzka, and the others are still there. So it looks like midfield is not anywhere near where he's going to be operating. When you look at the wings, I think Bayern are looking at bringing in real machines this summer. So for me, I think he's got more use cases and more playing time and more uses at Arsenal than at Bayern. And I think this deal is really going to depend on the genius of Andrea Barta. Of course, I don't want to lie. I don't think we can convince him, and I don't think we can promise him that we're going to give him 90 minutes every single game and he doesn't need it to. That is the truth. I don't think Leroy Sane is going to be sitting on a negotiation table with Arsenal or with Bayern claiming, I want 90 minutes every single match day. I mean, you're 30, you don't need 30 minutes, you don't need 90 minutes every single match day. Probably what you need is 20 minutes or 30 minutes every single match just to keep fit, but also to provide that kind of value as a sportsman to your team. That is what I think. Now, He's worked with Mikel Arteta, and this is going to be a huge factor. There's no doubt, I don't doubt Arteta when it comes to negotiating. He's a good guy. He can get the deal done. But I think his ties with Mikel Arteta are stronger, and they can help us get the deal done quickly, easily, and more, I would say, guaranteed than any other club. And we've seen it before. Raheem Sterling to Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal, or Alexander Zinchenko to Arsenal. These guys believe in Mikel Arteta. They've worked with him, they look at him, and they understand him, and they believe in him. They know the vision, and they believe in that vision. So if Mikel picks up his phone, talks to Leroy Sane, and says, hey son, I have a job for you. I am trying to win the Premier League. We did it before together, you remember? Can you come in here and provide the much needed depth in the squad and the much needed quality and experience? I'm losing to Gino and I'm losing Partey as well. I'm going to need leaders and I'm going to need players that have been there before, that have crossed that bridge of winning silverware before. I think Leroy Sane will listen to Mikel Arteta and he will be convinced. But also having a good sporting director in Arteta makes a lot of sense and it makes the deal easier, not harder. I mean, you can talk to him in any way, shape, or form. We can promise him a little bit of game time, but you can also talk about the prospect of this Arsenal project. Players really want new beginnings, and players really want new challenges. And Arsenal right now, like we've seen with players like Declan Rice, it's a new challenge. It's a team that has not been winning silverware, but it's a team that has built a very good squad. If you look at it, you know they're gonna be winning silverware very soon, and you wanna be a part of that as just part of history. Like they changed Arsenal's trajectory. Arsenal was on a downward trajectory, and when the likes of Rice and Sane came in, they actually won the league. So I think Sane can be convinced well and beyond to join Arsenal. Now, there's some good sides to this deal, and there's also some downsides to this deal. The upward to this deal, first and foremost, is free. Arsenal are not going to spend any money on it. I mean, we love free things, especially when they are very, very good. The other upside to this deal is that it will cut the transfer cost and allow Arsenal to go in the market and have a lot of breathing space. I mean, think about this. If we sign Nico for 50, Zubimendi for 70, and sign Garcia maybe for 15, how much are we left with to deal with the other areas? I mean, very little, right? So I think if you don't sign Nico, I'm just saying, if we don't sign Nico and maybe sign Leroy Sane, or if Arsenal don't spend money on an attacking midfielder and we use Sane as our attacking midfielder, that is money saved, and that money can be used to maneuver in other areas and impact the squad. So that is another advantage to this deal. But as a player, he brings a lot of experience, he brings a lot of pedigree and that winning mentality. Obviously, he's been at Bayern, he knows what it means to win, but most importantly, players at Bayern know what it means to win again and again and again and again. That is what Arsenal are looking for. He can be a reliable, squad player to the squad, especially to Mikel Arteta, a manager that we know is biased towards his favorites. Sane can be a favorite who doesn't start. And that means we shall have a couple of favorites for Mikel Arteta who don't start games, and that is what we're looking for. Players that can come off the bench and change games for us. You're talking the likes of Sane, we're talking Kai Havertz, we're talking Gabriel Martinelli, and a couple of others. So I think Sane as a deal is good. It makes a lot of sense. He's a leader with experience, and as you lose to Gino and Partey, he comes in and slots into those empty spaces and pockets very well. You want an attacking midfielder, you're looking for a goal, you want creativity, UCL proven, English Premier League proven as well. That is Leroy Sane for you. He's such a complete transfer, he's such a complete deal for Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. And one thing that I really like about him, he knows the system that Arteta wants. I mean, it's difficult. Declan Rice himself came out and testified that Arteta's system is very difficult to grapple with and catch up with. It's very, very difficult. So a player like Sane that has already played with Mikel, understands Mikel, he's going to need less time to actually fit in. But there is also some downside to this deal. And the downside is that Arsenal could miss out on the opportunity to sign Nico Williams this summer. Yes, we want many players and we want a lot of quality and we want a lot of options, but you also want to take care and take advantage of market opportunities. Nico Williams is a market opportunity. Victor Gyökeres is a market opportunity. Shesko will be market opportunity, and so is Cunha, Jonathan David, and a couple of others. So if Arsenal don't sign Nico Williams now, in favor of signing Sane, it's okay. He can take us for the next 2 years. But then again, we are going to have to revisit the transfer market. And that's where this deal kind of has a negative effect on the other deals that we want to do. We might not sign a winger because Mikel says, look, I have Sane. I don't need an attacking midfielder. I don't need a winger. And then we miss out on Nico Williams. What I think Arsenal should do, or what I think Arsenal could do, is we need to set our priorities straight. I think Sane should come in as a backup for all those positions. Right wing, left wing, and in the number 10. Just as a backup. Go out in the market and sign Ryan Sharkey. Go out in the market and sign Nico Williams. Go out in the market and sign whoever you want to sign as priorities and long-term targets, and Sane could back them up. It could be you don't have your number 10 on the day, you want to rest him, he's injured, Sane steps up. The other downside is that Leroy Sane is no longer as good as he was. And that is self-explanatory. He's no longer in his best days. When I watched him at Schalke 04 alongside the likes of Max Meyer, he was relentless. He was one of the players that I enjoyed to watch at Schalke. And when he came to Manchester City, I said, boy oh boy, we are finished, we are done. And he didn't disappoint. Now, why his career ended and he went back to Bayern, we will never know. But obviously, Bayern is a bigger club. There's no question about that. But for me, I think we've seen the best of Leroy Sane. People might be excited that he might come in and get this number 10 and blah, blah, blah. But I kind of feel like we've seen the best of him. And we're not going to see anything more than what we saw at Schalke and what we also saw at Manchester City. You're just bringing in a player with experience, a player with pedigree, a player that can cover. Nothing more, nothing less. The other things that I really want to talk about is the Raheem Sterling effect. Raheem Sterling has been a success in the Premier League at Liverpool and at Manchester City. But as these players get older, they lose their former selves. Raheem Sterling has been a real shadow of himself at Arsenal. Like, I don't remember Raheem Sterling having a good game in an Arsenal shirt. Okay, maybe one good game. But for a whole season, for a player the caliber of Raheem Sterling, and you look at the numbers that he was registering at Manchester City, for him to have one good game for Arsenal in a season that has been riddled with injuries, in a season that has given him the opportunity to deliver, I'm scared we might actually get the same with Leroy Sane. Now, I might be scared, I might be excited, but how does he compare with the players that we have and the players that we are linked with? First and foremost, with Leandro Trossard, I think Trossard is a better finisher and a better winger. I just kind of feel like Sane has got the pace over Trossard, and he's also got that kind of versatility, where you could play him in the 10 and he looks like a 10. So I think that's, if I was comparing him to Trossard, the only two things I would take over him is that versatility. I could play him in the 10 and he's also quicker and explosive. Over Gabriel Martinelli, I think Martinelli is quicker, younger, and he's got that raw pace, threatening pace. Martinelli is also a better finisher, but when it comes to shooting outside the penalty area and also being versatile, you could use him anywhere, still he's got that advantage over Martinelli. With Ethan Nwaneri though, it looks like he's got nothing over Ethan Nwaneri. I mean, Nwaneri can play in the 7. Nwaneri could play in the 8. Nwaneri could play in the 10. He's quick. He's got raw pace. He's got a very shooting, thunderbolt outside the penalty area, and his finesse inside the penalty area is also very good. So right now, Sane has nothing on Ethan Nwaneri. On Raheem Sterling, every single day, I am taking Leroy Sane. Like, he's got everything better than Raheem Sterling. Now, if I'm comparing him to the players that we're linked with, Nico Williams, obviously, is a monster. But there is something that he has over all these players. Sane has experience, and he has done it before. He's a winner. Most of the players we've talked about, and we will talk about, are not winners. So, but when it comes to Nico Williams, he gives you that raw pace. He gives you that ability to shoot from outside the penalty area, and also the ability to shoot with both feet. I mean, he's a deadly player. He's a dangerous player. Lookman, the same. I kind of feel like both of them, Nico and Lookman, have a lot of pace over Sane. Doesn't make him bad. These guys are young and they are explosive. Anthony Semenyo is pacey, but Semenyo has got nice finesse. Like, he's a good finisher. And so is Bryan Mbeumo. Mbeumo has also got pace in behind. So that's why I'm saying Arsenal should not sign Sane as, we've got a right winger, we've got a left winger. We should sign him as a general overall backup to all these players. Hit the like button. I'll see you soon.